Hey, what's this scene? I am Reon and this is Reese Teas. This is Reese Teas. And this is Reese Teas. And this is Reese Teas. Welcome to Reese Teas, where we have conversations that matter with people who care. Join me as I connect and reconnect with new and old friends as we sip tea, spill tea, and catch up on everything that's going on in their lives and in the world. So like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification so you never miss a single drop. So as you can see from the title of today's episode, it's called What's in a Name. It's the first actual official episode here on the Reese Teas channel, and I really wanted to give you guys the history behind how this channel even came into fruition and what's in the name. My friends have been encouraging me to do a YouTube ever since I've known myself, since secondary school. I've had friends who've been encouraging me to get on YouTube, and they wanted me to do so because they thought I was funny. And the thing is, I don't try to be funny. I'm just talking, I'm just saying things, and people will laugh, and I'm without the intention of being funny. I am now just standing there waiting for them to stop laughing so I can get back to my story or whatever was going on. But in secondary school, I was a boy from the country with dial-up internet and no camera. Excuses, yes, but still, there was no way that making a YouTube back then would have made sense to me. But also, we didn't really grow up in an era where social media was so important. Thank God, because there's certain things that happened in secondary school that I'm so glad there's no video footage of. But as I got into university, again, friends would keep encouraging me to do YouTube, and I would say one of the biggest things that kept me from doing it back when I wasn't interested would have been you're always concerned about how you'll be perceived by the public, what people will say, what people will think. You never want to do something that would embarrass you or embarrass your parents.
Alright, that's it. Dishonor on your whole family. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow,
or make potential clients or people that you're working with, potential employers, question your efficiency. And I always felt like social media influencers back then, there wasn't really a term for it, they were always scrutinized on a different level, and I knew that mentally I wasn't prepared for that, just because from observation and seeing the way that the internet is and the way that people interact on the internet and the things that people say to people on the internet, I knew at that age, in my early 20s and late teens, that my skin wasn't thick enough for that. Just from the way that I would react and respond to the things that people would say to me in person.
That's what happens when you talk.
And how I would process it and deal with it. You as an individual, you have to be cognizant, and you have to know yourself, and you have to know what you can and cannot handle. And I knew that the kinds of disgusting things that people say to people on the internet weren't things that I could handle and process on top of the things that I would have to deal with in real life on a daily basis. What brought me to a point of being able to do it now, I think once I did get interested in it, I believe that I've done the work on the inside to be able to handle and process the things that people may or may not say. I'm human, so I'm sure it'll bother me, but I won't ruminate and lose sleep on it here in my life. The older you get, the less you care. But also, as I have traversed life and been through things and done things, posted things, been talked about, I know that whatever you do or don't do, people will talk either way. So I want to live a life, and I've said this before in other videos, I want to live a life where when I get to the end of my road, I can look back and say I did everything I wanted to do, regardless of what people did or didn't say, because we're all out here living our lives wondering what the other person is saying and not living the lives that we want to live. And then also, I think once I did get interested in it and started to do research into how to go about doing it, I held off because I wanted to have the right equipment and the right setting to do it. I know if you watch a lot of videos about how to start a YouTube, a lot of them will tell you, well, just start, use your phone, use that window for your light, use whatever mic, this, that, and the other, and that's cool if that's what you want to do. but
Ghetto. The ghetto. The ghetto.
I won't say I'm a perfectionist, but I like quality. And I think once you put out a quality product, that's what people come back for. At least me. I know I don't enjoy watching videos on YouTube with bad audio. Especially bad audio, because sometimes you may not necessarily be watching, but you will be listening as you drive, as you cook, as you do whatever, and if the audio is bad, I'm gonna watch something else. If you are watching, then good visuals are important. So for me, I prefer to just like save, to do the research, talk to friends who do YouTube, friends who own cameras. I want to get a camera that can do both photography and videos well, good lighting, etc. So that's what got me, that's what made it take the time that it did take once I decided that yes, I want to do this. What made it take even longer, I had made up my mind I was gonna launch my channel in January of 2020. And then once I started, I was involved in a male pageant, which we'll talk about at another point in time. Again, as an individual, you have to know what you can and can't handle on your plate, and I was doing so much to get ready for that show. Adding the management of a channel, I knew it would have been too much. What I was doing at the time, I was making videos that related to the pageant, which you can see on that page, which I'll link below. And even then, a friend of mine was editing those videos for me because I didn't have the time necessarily to edit them myself. Once we were in January, I knew that it would not have been wise to have been managing a YouTube channel while working and getting ready for the pageant. And then once I left and came back, shortly after I came back, everything happened with the pandemic and we were under lockdown. And because I wanted my show to be a talk show primarily, yes, there are going to be lots of episodes with just me here talking direct to the camera, talking to you guys about this, that, the other. I really wanted a guest-centric show where I did interviews and just learned and sought knowledge and grow as a person, and hopefully that my viewers would grow along with me as we learned new things from the various guests. Once the first lockdown came, I decided I would wait until it was over. Granted, a lot of the talk shows that I do watch, because I love talk shows, which we'll get into in another video. There are lots of things we're gonna get into in other videos. I love talk shows. If you know me well, you know I love Wendy Williams.
How you doing?
And The View. And lots of the talk shows that I do watch started doing what I call the Brady Bunch box talk show, where I'm over here and you're over there and we're both on screen in these Brady Bunch boxes, and I just didn't like it because it didn't align into the vision that I wanted for myself and for my show. And as time passed by, things opened back up and I was getting ready to do these interviews. Again, I had messaged my friends, we were going to do the interviews, and then why was I busy around election time? Why was I election time? Why was I election time? I don't know. Oh, the gym opened back. I don't know. But the point is, I think everybody else is busy around election time. So I think like after the election was over, I made up my mind I was going to start the channel, and then boom, we were put under lockdown again, and I was like, okay. At that point in time, I had to decide, what do I want to do? Do I want to wait indefinitely for this pandemic to be over, or do I want to adapt and change and figure out a new normal as the entire planet is having to do, and get this show on the road, so to speak? And what made me decide to do it, ironically enough, I think a lot when I work out, and well, the gyms have been closed, but as I was running, I run now, it just came to me just like, get over yourself, get over your obsession with wanting to do these interviews in person. If the Brady Bunch boxes are good enough for The View and good enough for Trevor Noah and good enough for everybody else, good enough for you, one. But two, one of my favorite YouTubers, Jackie Aina, last year she launched her own makeup palette on her birthday, and then this year she launched her own line of candles on her birthday. And I don't know, in watching that video I just felt inspired. Like, as corny as it might sound, I was just like, I am going to launch this channel on my birthday. That's my next endeavor. That's the next creative thing I wanted to get into. There are ways and means to work around the current situation on the planet. Go and do it. And thus, here we are. So this is the first video. You're probably already bored. I don't know. I hope you're not. I started to watch videos to learn how to do remote interviews to recording a laptop, and once I did watch those videos, I then set up the appointments with the people who you're gonna see on the channel in those interviews. And then I had my practice session with my friend Ivan. And what I have to say about Ivan is that he is A real friend, because not only has he been encouraging me to do this for years and consistently, like he'll always slip it into conversation. So hello, when you starting your YouTube though, but also when called upon to help me get it started, he didn't hesitate. He's like, sure, that's no problem. When do you want to do it? Then even on the given day, with that being my first interview and the practice session and me just figuring out how to make my equipment work and how to make the software work, he had the patience of Job, God bless him, because he was a busy guy. He was at work and he worked with me and he stuck with me until we figured it out, and I'm really appreciative of that, because there was people who would have thrown their hands up midway through that and said, boy, figure it out on your own.
It's above me.
The name. Now, going back and forth in my head, there were so many different names that I wanted the channel to have, and how I arrived at Ree's Teas. At a point in time, I had decided on a name, and that was the name in my head. I'm not gonna say it because it's corny. And it didn't settle with me because one, the name was, I was copying a friend of mine as a YouTuber, I really can't lie. Like the name was very similar to the name of his channel. It would have made sense, yes, but it wasn't me and it wasn't authentic. It was a lie and it was stolen, and it just didn't settle well in my spirit. And last year Christmas, and this is how long this process has been going on in my mind, my friend Hugh Jacob asked me, when are you starting your YouTube? I was like, boy, well, I'm working on it, coming out in the new year in a big way. I was trying to figure out a name, and he's like, call it Ree's Teas. And I was like, call it Ree's Teas, like, all the lights came on. For Ree's Teas, for those of you who don't know, here's the story of how that name came about. When I was in UB, my friends and I used to study on campus, and there were these coffee machines around campus where you would get coffee and hot chocolate from at night. And very often you would put your money in the coffee machine, press the button and get coffee that just wasn't right, or you get a cup of hot water and ants. One night I went to said coffee machine, put in my money and got a cup of hot water and ants. And I was exhausted and I really needed the caffeine to get back focused and stay awake and get into my studies. And as I kicked the machine, I said, well, best I saw coffee, boy. And I was like, hey, best I do. And thus Ree's Teas, the original brand, was born. I used to sell coffee in the foyer, and I had coffee, I had snacks, I had donuts. And while selling coffee, anybody who knows anything about good customer service, I would engage with my customers, I would talk with them, I would laugh with them, we'd have a little chat, while also trying to wrap the conversation up quickly, because I was also studying while selling the coffee. And my friends, I remember my friends Ariel, Arvin and RT used to call those sessions where we just have the coffee and talk, because sometimes we'll have coffee and talk and get into like really deep conversations about life and the meaning of life and our purpose and what we want to do with our lives. And we used to call it Bropra, because I'm also obsessed with Oprah.
All right, open your boxes.
So we used to call it Bropra. So with that in mind, naming this show, this podcast, this channel, whatever it evolves into, this brand, because it's gonna be a brand, Ree's Teas made sense, because Ree's Teas represents my hustle, it represents my entrepreneurial spirit, it represents my ability to adapt and innovate, it represents my ability to connect with people, and it represents my ability to connect with people over a hot cup of tea. So it just made sense. It sits well with me. It makes sense. Like, I don't know what else to say. So that's how the channel got the name. So I'm so excited for you guys to finally see me sit and chat with some guests. Tune in next week when I have my first guest on. I want you guys to guess down in the comments who my first guest is gonna be. And I can't wait to embark on this journey with you guys. It's gonna be amazing. I can just feel it. I know it's gonna be, nothing great happens overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. So I know it's gonna be a journey, and I know it's gonna be a process. And one of the most important things for me in deciding to do this was, I know I have to put out content that I'm happy with, that I'm pleased with, that I can be proud of. so that even if nobody watches, I can watch and say, damn, I did a good job. So I can't wait to go on this journey with myself and grow as a creative and learn and gain knowledge and share knowledge with the people that I have on the channel. But I also hope that you join me on this journey. This is Reese Steve.